renewed zest. Since my clothing day I had received abundant lights on religious perfection, chiefly concerning the vow of poverty. Whilst I was a postulant, I liked to have nice things to use and to find everything needful ready at hand. Jesus bore with me patiently, for He gives His light little by little. At the beginning of my spiritual life, about the age of 14, I used to ask myself how, in days to come, I should more clearly understand the true meaning of perfection. I imagined I then understood it completely, but I soon came to realize that the more one advances along this path, the farther one seems from the goal. And now I am resigned to be always imperfect, and I even find joy therein. To return to the lessons which our Lord taught me. One evening after Compline, I searched in vain for our lamp on the shelves where they are kept, and, as it was the time of the Great Silence, I could not recover it. I guessed rightly that a sister, believing it to be her own, had taken it, but just on that evening I had counted much on doing some work, and was I to spend a whole hour in the dark on account of this mistake? Without the interior light of grace I should undoubtedly have pitied myself, but, with that light, I felt happy instead of aggrieved, and reflected that poverty consists in being deprived of not only what is convenient, but of what is necessary. And in this exterior darkness I found my soul illumined by a brightness that was divine. At this time I was seized with a craving for whatever was ugly and inconvenient, and was thus quite pleased when a pretty little jug was taken from our cell and a large chipped one put in its place. I also tried hard not to make excuses, but I found this very difficult, especially with our mistress. From her I did not like to hide anything. My first victory was not a great one, but it cost me a great deal. A small jar, left behind a window, was found broken. No one knew who put it there, but our mistress was displeased, and, thinking I was to blame in leaving it about, told me I was very untidy and must be more careful in future. Without answering, I kissed the ground and promised to be more observant. I was so little advanced in virtue that these small sacrifices cost me dear, and I had to console myself with the thought that at the day of judgment all would be known. Above all, I endeavoured to practice little hidden acts of virtue. Thus I took pleasure in folding the mantles forgotten by the sisters, and sought for every possible occasion of helping them. One of God's gifts was a great attraction towards penance, but I was not permitted to satisfy it. The only mortification allowed me consisted in mortifying my self-love, and this did me far more good than bodily penance would ever have done. However, Our Lady helped me with my wedding dress, and, as soon as it was finished, every obstacle vanished and my profession was fixed for September 8, 1890. All that I have set down in these few words would take many pages to relate, but those pages will never be read on earth. End of chapter 7.